Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we got some absolutely insane news for the stock market. And this is some news that is essentially going to change the way you trade for weeks, if not even months, and especially leading up to this presidential election. Now, what exactly happened is that President Trump and the First Lady just tested positive for COVID-19. And with everything we've seen with COVID-19 and going back to other presidents that have also gotten this same disease, you can see that, for example, in UK, when Boris Johnson got this, just when he went to the hospital to get put on a respirator, the stock markets in UK absolutely tanked. And we are probably going to see a similar thing with the S&P, just judging off these futures that are coming today. Now, you can see that in after hours, the stock market tanked around, here, let me tell you guys, they tanked around 2 to 3%. And honestly, I think there's a lot more downside coming in the near future here if any more news comes out with this. Now, what's going to be critically important to see is whether or not Trump is going to be able to recover quickly from this disease. Now, if he's able to come out and say we are asymptomatic, we're completely fine, then these markets will recover back to the level that they were at just a few seconds ago. But if he comes out and he says, I am very, very sick and I'm going to the hospital, we are definitely going to see a big sell off, the likes that we've never seen before. And a lot of people say that the first time a bull market sells off, it is an unsuccessful reaction. You can see here that we sold off to 320. And although this market could have a lot more downside, 311, or even at this double bottom at 300, we still saw them come back up to 337. And honestly, guys, I was expecting another trade to the downside unless we saw some insane momentum back up above this 341. But now we just got this terrible news. And like I said, you can see that we're down almost 2% in the pre-market. And we were down even more yesterday night during the after hours. So if you know what's good for you guys, I'm saying this as a friend, not as a trader, not as someone who's trying to take advantage of you, as a direct friend. Do not trade these markets. I know a lot of you guys who watch my channel are not the most experienced at trading. You just started trading when COVID hit and when this economic downturn hit, and you're looking to this channel for information. And I'm telling you guys, as someone who has traded the market for over 4 to 5 years here, that this is not an ideal time to trade. If you are the type of person to hold a trade for more than a single day, if you are the type of person to hold it for more than a single hour, you're potentially putting yourself at some immense risk of taking a loss because these positions are going to move extremely volatile. Now, you see that what happened with the stock market. Yesterday, we were at 337. Now we're at 331 and looking to test possibly 320 by the time the market opens. Now, I do think we'll see a small rebound at the open, maybe looking to hit 334 or 333, but don't doubt that there will be a sell-off today, at least towards the end of the market or towards the beginning of the day. Now, I don't know when it's going to happen. I do have one swing position open with my $50 to $1,000 trading challenge, and right now I'm just fearing that this position is going to open down 50%, down 70%. Right now the stock looks good in after hours, but it is still very, very dangerous for me. Even though I was unaware of this trading event, I should have had the wherewithal to know that something like this could happen. Now, it's just completely unexpected, and you never expect someone who gets tested almost daily to contract a disease like this, but it could possibly happen. It was a possibility, and today we saw it happen. It's going to be absolutely insane to see what happens at the open. I think we're going to have one of the most up and down days that the stock market has ever seen. And similarly, if you watch Zip Trader's video on this event, you can know that the last time something similar happened was in 1955 when President Eisenhower had his heart attacks. And when the market found out about this event, we saw a sell-off of over 6 to 7%. Now, back then, the stock market wasn't as big. It wasn't worth as much as it is now. And you can see that we're already down 2 to 3%. So we have a long ways to go to the bottom. And if we did sell off around 6%, that would be a trade of around to here. So you see that that's 5% to the 320. And if we see these bottom levels, the 312, the 311, then we would be around 7 to 8% down. So don't doubt that we can still sell off a lot more than what we're seeing here, guys. And anything can happen in this market. That's why I'm telling you as a friend, not as a trader, not as someone who's trying to take advantage or take you out of a play. I'm telling you guys, do not trade this market unless you have years of experience and you're not holding a position for more than a day. This is going to be some insane volatility, and we do have a couple other events to talk about. Now, in my last pre-market video, I was talking about how the market finally looked like maybe it was holding up around this 337 and having a short pause before we actually rocketed back up to the 341 or maybe even the 358 near all-time highs. But now after this event, we're seeing a lot more downside pressure than before and a lot more people looking to sell. You can see just how many people are looking to sell and short this market right now, even though there are a lot of people trying to buy it at open because they think they might be a bounce. There's still over 1,000 more contracts you can see right here looking to sell, or 1,000 more positions. So it's just going to be an absolutely insane moment at the open of this market as people try to decide what's going to be happening for the day. If you have positions and they are up even a penny, I would close those immediately. They are not safe from selling off, and especially not after the sell-off we saw in after hours. Just the news of it, just the event happening a couple hours ago. And you got to realize that not everybody can trade in after hours. Just professional traders can trade in after hours, or people who have a special platform. Webull allows it, obviously, but Robinhood does not. Thinkorswim does not, and many other platforms do not allow you to trade in after hours. And that's going to be the critical part of protecting yourself as a trader. And guys, honestly, there is a lot of events moving the market, but none are going to move them as strongly as this. Now, one of the first things that we saw this week was the presidential debates. And like I was telling you guys, I was expecting the presidential debates to have a large effect on the market, but you can see that we only sold off around 1.5% here. And this is where I was looking as a level to kind of see what was happening with the debates. But you can see that right after the open, the market bought back up to 338. And that was that really weird day where we saw the market climb up. And then towards the end of the day, after we got some news about the stimulus bill, we actually sold off extremely heavily and closed at a negative. So that was what happened yesterday or the day before on Wednesday. And now we're seeing a very similar thing, but a larger sell-off. So we just have to wait and see whether or not this market will recover a lot, like what the S&P futures did last night after the news of what happened, or if we're going to see more of a huge reaction and a sell-off as a lot of people just cut their positions. Now, just to show you a few big companies, Apple, they are absolutely down in the overtime in the after hours period here. And you can see that they are below their resistance, or largely below their resistance, and looking to break to the downside. Another position that I saw extremely down in the pre-market was Boeing. Now, Boeing is a company I don't trade very often. I did talk about them with my all-in on Boeing video where I was identifying this wedge pattern, but you can see that they're now bouncing towards the downside off this long-term resistance around 168. And if this holds true, then we're going to see a lot more stocks that are bouncing to the downside. Now, just to show you a few things, other stocks that have been doing extremely well, Bed Bath & Beyond, they are actually a little bit down, but not substantially. Now, I do hold 200 shares of this company that I will be selling immediately at open unless we see some kind of a noticeable bounce, but I will still be managing my position throughout the day, and there's no way that I'm going to let today close without closing this position, as I'm sure there'll be some type of news on the president's health or on what's happening. Now, we do have a lot of mainstream media here in the US, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing their damnedest to sell off this market and to make sure this makes President Trump look as irresponsible and as bad as possible. And you have to realize that this is not about politics. This is not about whether you like Trump, whether you like Biden, whether you want him to survive or die. None of that matters. If you are a trader, you need to look at this analytically and realize that this is a very emotional event for a lot of people, and especially those who don't understand the market or understand trading. It's going to be very hard to know what exactly is happening, as one event could be interpreted as good and another could be interpreted as bad. If Donald Trump comes out and says, okay guys, I'm feeling a little sick, but we're recovering, a lot of people could hear that as I'm feeling a little sick and sell off. Or a lot of people could hear that as I'm recovering and come back into the market. So it's just going to have to wait and see what happens exactly on a daily basis, and you have to just take this slow, guys. Anything can happen. Other positions like Nvidia, for example, I know a lot of you guys might like Nvidia, so I'll take a quick look. And my charts are not loading. But yeah, guys, this is going to be an insane position. Anything can happen today. You see that they are also down around 5%. Let me pull out my ruler, and you can see that from 551 to around 526, that is 5%. And it's just going to be an insane moment for the stock market, whether or not these higher levels are held up, especially after we had 1 or 2 days recently of buying. So there's a lot of new people in the market, a lot of new positions open to the upside, and probably those positions are going to get closed right at the open. So like I said, guys, as your friend, if you are not a professional trader, if you don't know exactly what you're doing, or even if you feel a little unsure, your best bet is going to be to sell your positions as soon as possible, as soon as you feel comfortable. And if you see especially this market open up selling, you're going to want to be on this as soon as possible. Now, if my voice sounds a little groggy, it's because I'm recording this video in the morning. I was waiting to see what happened with the S&P futures and if we were going to see any sort of a bounce in those, and we did. So this is a good sign for the market at open. But long term, guys, I'm telling you, this is going to put some unprecedented volatility on the market. It's going to be extremely hard to predict, and especially swing trades that you're holding overnight that you can't basically trade them during this overtime period, this after hours period, is going to be critical for you to be out of a trade at that moment and not just stuck in a position, because you could take a big loss. So just keep a close eye out on these markets, guys. This is one of the most insane events that could possibly happen at this moment. While we're waiting for this, while we're waiting for stimulus, while we're waiting with these presidential debates and kind of seeing whether or not we'll even have another one next week, this is honestly one of the best things that could happen for Joe Biden. I see a lot of people on social media wishing for the president's death, and that's just going to add to the chaos and add to the volatility that this is going to potentially put on the market. Now, obviously, I don't wish the death of a president or the death of anybody, and this is an absolutely incredible event that we're just going to see how it trades. And if you are a new trader, well, you got absolutely lucky that you're able to see an event like this and see how the market will actually react. And honestly, if my positions are even halfway okay, I'm going to be very excited to see what happens during the day. So as always, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to stay updated. I'll be posting videos like this in the morning before market opens very consistently as we kind of try to track what is happening with the market. Another thing is I am working on a Discord right now for the channel, and that way I can provide you guys more immediate updates on what's happening, as well as what positions I'm looking to buy and sell for the day. Now, one great position that I'm actually looking that I might open up, but very doubtful on it, is GLD. Now, what this does is a index that tracks gold, and you can see that they've been on a very high downtrend, but now in aftermarket, they're up around 0.4%. This isn't really representative of how they're going to be during the day. I think they're going to spike above this resistance level that you can see here. They've been kind of holding below this 178, and now they're looking to break back up, especially after this tumultuous news about President Trump and his family. We are going to see a huge come up on this index. So just don't sleep on these opportunities, guys. Even with the volatility, there's still going to be a lot of positions that can potentially gain. But like I said, if you aren't a professional trader, if you feel unsure, there's no shame in backing out of these markets while you still can and while you still have your money in your pocket. Nobody can take it away from you if it's in your pocket. So just keep a close eye out on these markets. Be very careful, guys. Anything could happen. Unprecedented volatility, unprecedented swings, moving events, etc. We have the stimulus, we have the debates, we have this coronavirus. Just keep a close eye out, guys. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.